Alright, okay, Summoner School, we're back. We're going to go ahead and give you another reverse replay, or another replay from Keonkwai, who is a Master Tier player, and the purpose of this video is to kind of help teach people, certainly in Summoner School and anyone else, how to jungle or how to do various lanes. Right now we're focusing on the jungle. We're going to be doing a Lee Sin game this game. And the idea here is we're going to offer some timestamps, and at those timestamps we're going to pause the game, ask a question. We'll probably, after the question, have a few minutes, well, a few seconds of silence. After those few seconds, you can unpause. But during that pause session, you should also pause your own video. During the pause, think about the question that's asked and try to guess what's going to happen. And then Keonkwai is going to explain what he's doing after the pause is undone. Basically, he's going to answer the question. So the idea here is to kind of test your knowledge to see how you compare with a challenger level player, decision making as far as what to do in the jungle. So that's the idea of it. We're going to go ahead and get started. The first pause we're going to have here is coming up in about 40 seconds, but just before we get started, let's just look at the obvious things. Of course, Keonkwai is playing Lee Sin, and on his team he has an Orianna, a Gangplank, a Vayne, and a Thresh, and the enemy team has a Rengar, Gragas, Azir, Twitch, and a Thresh, and this is a team builder game. So we're going to go ahead and just analyze that. So Keonkwai, if I could get your opinion, what are you looking to do here with Lee Sin? What's your role? What kind of things do you perceive that are going to happen during this game? Like, what do you plan to do with Lee Sin? If you could just briefly go over that.
Well, I want to keep up a fast-paced early game. I want to put pressure everywhere on the map, as fast-paced as possible, and try to secure an easy early game win. Basically, I want to snowball every lane from the early game and proceed from there.
Okay. So Lee Sin being that early game jungler, just applying pressure. You have incredible burst damage from Lee Sin as a jungle, probably better than any other early game jungler, I'd imagine. Lee Sin's one of the strongest. So okay, good. We'll just go ahead and play it. So the first thing Keonkwai asked me is why did he decide to go top? So that's the question you guys should think about. I'm going to go ahead and play it for 8 seconds. So get ready to pause here and about when the timestamp is about 40 seconds into the game, and ask yourself, why is Lee Sin top? Okay, so I'm going to pause it here. Great, my pause button's already down. Already won't let me pause anymore for some reason.
Oh, wow.
Okay. Alright, well, we'll just have to move it at a slower speed, I take it. Alright, so go ahead and answer that, Keonkwai. Why did you decide to go top?
Well, there are two reasons I started topside. First of all, it's very common amongst Lee Sin players to invade people at their first buff, which means people expect this to happen. I expect Gragas to expect me to go to his red at level 2 after I do my my first camp.
Mm-hmm.
What they do not expect, however, is to be invaded on their second buff, which means if I start top lane, I can take the top lane grump buff, and then the red buff, and then proceed to the blue buff.
Okay.
That's what I want to do, just in case Gragas shows up, I can probably get another kill. Secondly, I want to give our bot lane a chance to get the grump at level 1 to gain a lane advantage, and I want to do the double jungle strategy with Gangplank to also give him a slight advantage in lane.
Okay.
That's basically it.
Yeah, so when I was thinking about it, I thought, well, if he's going to play Lee Sin, I think you wanted to start red, and having that red will give you more power than having blue because you'll add extra damage. And I thought you would take topside, a few camps in the topside jungle, so Gromp, then red, and then try to make your way bot, because bot lane, they have a bot lane Twitch, and I thought you'd be rotating bot to get an early kill, and just making your way down that direction. So you'd be around like level 3-ish, ready to gank. But like you said, obviously you had a different idea, probably a little more informed one. But that's initially what I thought. So we're going to go ahead and play it. The next timestamp, guys, is at around 2:33. So we're going to go ahead and watch the game and see how it plays out.
Minions have spawned.
I'll fast forward a little bit so we can get through some of this jungle. Yeah, watching jungle camps die, not particularly entertaining. So So I notice, here's something I want to ask you. I notice you don't take the like the big one or the small one on the first camp, so you're just going to give that straight away to him. Like you're going to give him all of that experience in gold.
Yeah.
Now, isn't it more common though that when double jungles happen, you give both of that? You give some of the experience to him and take some of the others? Like you take the big ones or the small ones?
No. Well, it's very common, but I prefer this one because the Gangplank is going to back anyways. So if he gets the level 2 from the first camp, he is for sure going to be level 2, and he has 2 abilities to use on the red buff.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, that means I give him the level 2 on the first camp, and I proceed to the next one, where he gives me level 2 by moving out before I kill the red buff.
Great.
And he goes back after tanking my red buff and teleports the lane.
Alright, so his lane's already pushed, so he can just go ahead and immediately farm level 2, so he's pretty good. Alright, so where should you go after red was the next question you asked. So everyone out there in viewer land, go ahead and pause it. Give yourself 5 seconds, think about what do you think he's going to do, and where he's going to go. Okay, so after that pause, Keon, I'm going to go ahead and answer what I think I would have done if I was Lee Sin. I probably just would have went straight to Raptors. That's my initial understanding. Like, I see that Gangplank's not their top. He's getting ready to teleport in. Mid lane didn't look terribly gankable. Like, you might be able to put some damage, but you're going to force a flash. So I thought, well, you know what? I'll just keep farming. You're not quite level 3. That was my impression. What were you planning to do?
Basically, I wanted to invade the enemy jungle. This is because I am a stronger early game jungler than Gragas is, so I can end up fighting him, which is a very positive thing for me, as I am able to kill him most likely. And if I'm really lucky, I can put down a water blue buff, run around, and as he starts the blue buff, I can just wait for him to get low and take him by surprise and then kill him. Okay. So I was just planning to get a kill, basically.
And so that brings us closer to our next timestamp at 3:15. And the question you're going to ask here is, why did you not take the blue buff right away when you warded over the jungle? And I think you kind of answered that in the last question. It seems like your goal here is, again, you want to kill Gragas when he shows up. That's your plan. And so that's what I also thought when I saw you not take it, when I saw you ward over there. But then again, Gragas just shows up on the map. Actually, no, we should probably turn that off so we don't have the other vision. Okay, there we go. All right. So do you want to say anything about why you shouldn't take the red buff or the blue buff right away, or you think that's pretty much covered?
No. The reason I did not take the blue buff straight away was because I wanted to see if Gragas was going to show up or not. Because I don't know if he's a slow jungler, right? His first 2 buffs are quite slow. So I gave him some slack to show up at the blue buff. I gave him about 15 to 20 seconds to show up, and I decided that if he does not show up, I am going to go for the blue, because if he does not show up, this means he might go for my blue, which I think is the case, because after all, Twitch got down a deep ward that showed that I wasn't at the bottom half of the map, like 5 seconds before I was going to take the first camp. So I think Gragas believes I'm at his blue, so he takes my blue. So then I decide I take his blue now. I just wait to see if he's coming or not, and if it does not show up, I can take the blue buff.
Ah, okay.
Myself. Yeah.
Great. Yeah, I wouldn't have predicted that. See, I would have thought you were going to wait for him to kill him. And I imagine if I was playing Lee Sin, and I'm not a Lee Sin player for sure, but had I not seen him blue, I don't think I would have been had enough courage to go in there and kill it. I probably think I would have went for like a Gromp or something like that. Not, that's kind of a lesser value jungle camp, but for me, I think I would have been more easily able to escape rather than being where blue is, because you get pinched off from top and stuff like that, or maybe another buff altogether. Okay, so the next question is going to be at 3:53, guys. So just be ready for that. Pause around that time. We're going to ask you a question beforehand, and I'm going to go ahead and speed it up, because we don't have to watch you take buffs all slowly. And you stay in that jungle. You take a lot of his camps, which, I mean, that's going to put him significantly behind if he doesn't take your stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're there. Go ahead and get ready to pause it. The question's going to be, where should Lee Sin go after taking this camp? What is the answer? Alright, so go ahead and pause it, guys. We'll give you about 5 seconds. Okay, so when I saw this, I'm looking at top lane, and I see both top laners are low, and you can see on the right-hand side of the map they're low. So I would have said go ahead and go for the gank. You're about half life, and I think that's what you end up doing, if I remember correctly. So let's go ahead and watch. Okay, yeah, that is exactly what you do.
Yeah, that's the only logical explanation of that particular scenario, to be honest. Because, well, both are low, they're both with Flash, and Rengar uses his Ignite, so at this point, when I show up in top lane, both I and Rengar knows he's going to die, so he just stops fighting, he just stands still and lets me kill him.
Yeah, I noticed. I mean, he was so low, you could just walk in there, and I mean, even if you didn't hit everything, you probably could have just autoed him to death. He was very low. Yep. So, okay, so the next question's going to be coming up in about 4:40, and the question's going to be, he's going to get ready to back here shortly, and the first question, or the question is, what should you buy? And so guys, start thinking about what do you think he should buy as Lee Sin, what should his first item be, and go ahead and pause it, give yourself 5 seconds, so that he's going to answer. Okay, Keon, why don't you go ahead and start answering, you know, you're getting ready to back here, what do you plan to buy here?
I have about 1.2k gold at this point. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's 1.2k. And I decided to buy the Stalker's Blade, a pair of boots, and a Ruby Crystal. The reason I went for the boots was because of the mobility boost it gives me. It helps me fulfill my role on the team. The Stalker's Blade was for the bonus gold income and its significance in the jungle versus creeps, and the Ruby Crystal was for the bonus HP, as I expected to fight around bot lane pretty soon. And I might have been having to go under the tower to finish off Twitch or Thresh.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, looking back at it though, I would say I could probably have picked up a longsword and a potion instead.
Yeah, I see.
I would have done that actually if I did this again. I just, at the time, I was pretty just hyped, so I think, yeah, I'm taking the Ruby Crystal for if I have to dive.
See, I didn't think you were going to dive. I thought you were going to go back to farming and then you'd buy a longsword, because I see a lot of Lee Sins, they'll like get boots instead of a Ruby Crystal to get a longsword for that extra damage. And I think I probably would have gotten a, what is that item called? The Trailblazer, simply because Lee Sin's clear isn't, it's fast, it's okay, but it's not like really fast. He can take a lot of damage in the jungle. When you're not as skilled as like orb walking and things like that, so I probably went with the Trailblazer. Now, that's definitely not the right answer, probably, but for someone like myself who's not as confident, it just helps us clear and I can get to lane faster. But I think you probably have a lot more kill pressure with the Stalker's Blade.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So
the next one is there, yeah.
Yeah, the next one's here. So I'm gonna go ahead and just rewind about 15 seconds. And go ahead and answer that question. And here's the question. We're going to pause for you guys. So he sees Thresh warding from the Fog of War at about 5:36, and you see that happen. And the question is, when he sees this happen, when Thresh puts a ward out, what should he do? So you'll see it coming up. I'm going to go ahead and speed it up a little bit. So you'll see Lee Sin coming in, and Thresh is going to put down a ward here, and you see it. So let's check that out. So you see the little whiff. You barely see it. It's right here. And I imagine you saw that, Keon. So go ahead and pause it, guys out there. Think about what he should do, and then we'll have that explained. Okay. Go ahead, Keon. Why did you do that? What was your goal there? And what do you plan to do?
Speed it up to 2x,
okay.
by the way. while I explain.
Sure, go ahead.
Yeah. Well, what I know, at this stage of the game, a trinket ward lasts for about 60 seconds. And I take advantage of the fact that a lot of people tend to leave it unwarded for 10 to 20 seconds at a time in between their wards, which means there's going to be a 10 to 20 second window in that particular brush that is not warded. Like, I have 10 to 20 second window to gank bot lane. So I decide to clear my jungle while I wait for the 6.37 second mark to run back down bot lane and gank from the Fog of War. So I tell my bot lane I'm coming down in 1 minute exactly. So I clear my jungle, I go down bot lane because I know they have no exhaust, no flash, so it should be an easy gank. I think
this is about here. Yeah, it's a little buggy. Can you still see the video? Is it still up? Okay.
It, I think I'm pretty sure they had no flash here, or no exhaust either.
Yeah, I don't think it shows it here, but one thing that I found interesting is you exactly time that ward for a minute out to make this gank successful, because you know they don't have vision, which is, like, that's the kind of thing you need to pay attention, I think. Like, this is like the pinnacle of paying attention and decision making as far as fighting goes. Like, that's really impressive, because I wouldn't have thought of that, because you know it's a trinket ward this early, probably. I mean, Thresh doesn't have a sight stone yet, so it just makes it really simple for you here.
Yeah, this one is quite simple, and I also noticed bot lane going ham before I even get there.
Yeah.
This is kind of ballsy, but it worked out, and I guess they took an opportunity I didn't see coming.
Right. Exactly, yeah. Okay, so you got this a successful gank. So people out there watching, we're going to go ahead and give yourself a time to answer this question. So the question is, what should he be doing now? They got this gank here in the bot lane. What should Lee Sin do after that successful easy gank? Okay, hopefully you unpause by now. And Keon, why don't you go ahead and describe what you plan to do now after this gank?
Okay, so I know bot lane is going to push the wave to the tower to deny the enemy bot lane both experience and gold, and then go for a dragon. So I let Wayne and Thresh push, and I decide to kill the Rift Scuttler in order to provide my team with an escape rat boost if something goes wrong.
Okay.
So yeah, they push bot lane and come to dragon after I've killed the Rift Scuttler, and we secure the dragon quite easily because there are no wards at all.
Yeah, exactly, and I think that I wrote down the same answer. I would have said, you got a double kill bot lane. Everyone's relatively healthy, more or less. So it's looking like a good time to take dragon. Pretty easy dragon there, I'd imagine, with 2 people dead and you have your bot lane relatively full health. Okay, so we can go ahead and speed this up. We're going to go ahead and get to about 7 minutes 50 seconds, and we'll ask the next question. Okay, I'm going to slow it down for the next question here. Okay, so about 7:50, you're going to back right now, and he's going to buy some items. So go ahead, everybody out there, go ahead and think about what he should be buying, and give yourself some time, and we'll have that answered.
Yeah, you should probably show the gold as well, maybe.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Okay, he's got 850 gold, and currently he is sitting on a Stalker's Blade, a Ruby Crystal, and boots. Okay, so Keon, I'm just gonna go ahead and give my idea of what you should buy, or what I think you would buy. I'm gonna say double longsword, and I don't even remember what you buy here. But why don't you go ahead and explain what you intend to buy?
Okay, so because I've steamrolled with my decision making and my pressure this game, I figured it's wise to keep doing what I'm doing. So I decide to pick up mobility boots to allow faster map movements, as well as a side stone for ward coverage, like deep wards, and to be able to execute plays with my ward jump and my ulti. So that's what I go for, basically.
Ah, okay. So I noticed, yeah, you skip out on taking more damage because you just want more mobility with the Sightstone and boots to be able to get around the map, ward effectively if you need to, and then also have a lot more pressure because you can be really anywhere you want at this point with these particular items. Okay, so the next question out there, people, go ahead and guess what you think he's going to be, or what lane he should go to, or what he should be doing. Should he farm? Should he be in a lane? Go ahead and take yourself, take yourself a few seconds and guess what you think he intends to do. Then we'll have him answer. Okay, go ahead and explain to the audience what you intend to do.
Well, as my red buff spawned, it's ideal for me to move towards the upper half of the map. So I want to maintain my position in the game where I want to be around for every fight that should occur, no matter where. And I know our bot lane are considered pretty safe, in terms of I mean there are heads, and they have all summers up. Both of them have all summers up. So I assume Gragas rates mid and top lane as high value targets compared to bot lane.
Right.
So I want to make sure he does not get to 2v1 our mid laner or our top laner in at any given time. So I decided that going to the top side of the map is the right choice to do. Because bot lane can hold on their own, even 2v3, but top lane and mid lane can't really do a 1v2 1v2 fight.
Okay. Okay, so the next timestamp we have is about 9:25, so I'm going to speed it up a little bit. We'll get there. The question you want to ask yourself out there is, I'm going to wait because I want to show them what happens. Okay, so you come in for a very easy setup here, and we'll just go ahead and play this out. Ooh, he flashes. That's right, he flashes your kick, or your Q here.
Yeah, that was a very nice flash pass here.
I think you still get him anyway, yeah. Okay, so here's the question, everybody. You see the successful kill on Azir, with the Orianna and the Lee Sin cleaning it up. And the next question is, take some time, ask yourself, where could he go now to be most helpful? Where should he go after the successful gank? Okay, what do you think? What do you plan to do now, Keon?
Well, I still have my ultimate up, so I can make impact in fights still. So I want to go to bot lane in order to get their AD carry, which is a bit risky, of course. But worst case scenario, it should be a 1-for-1 trade, which I am perfectly fine with at this point of the game.
Okay.
So I basically go bot lane to trade 1-for-1.
So for me, when I see this playing out, we haven't seen the Gragas on the map, and this worries me really badly. So I don't think I would have had enough courage to come in here and do this, simply because you are going to be tower diving, and Gragas probably has level 6 and a lot of displacement, so that would scare me for messing this up. So let's see what happens. Okay. So we see how the gank got executed. You went in there, you immediately kicked the Twitch towards the enemy. And it just kind of goes all to shit simply because Gragas and the mid show up. Even though you get a kill, it just doesn't end up working out probably as you intended. So the question you asked is, what did the audience think? Go ahead. How do you think he could have executed that gank better? He went under the tower, he kicked Twitch into his team. Go ahead and ask yourself that question, and he'll answer it shortly. Okay, Keon, why don't you go ahead and answer that question?
Well, What I am thinking is to get behind Twitch and ult him into our Thresh, which means Thresh can lock him down and I can tag 1 or 2 tower hits before I get out. I told my bot lane to push first so we don't get the tower aggro too early. What I could have done differently is of course to get out sooner. Just I stayed for quite some time in the tower, which was kind of stupid on my end. But I did not expect their mid lane or their jungler to be there so soon, because I think they basically went for the 4v2 scenario in bot lane, and then I showed up, and it just kind of went to shit from there. It's no way they saw me coming, because I know for a fact there's no wards down the entire bottom half of the jungle. So yeah, it was kind of unlucky on my end, but we traded 1-for-1, and afterwards the rest of my team kind of just overstayed and went greedy, so they died as well. Yeah,
and you end up losing 2 here. It was ultimately that extended fight turned into a 2-for-1. Unfortunately, not in your favor. Okay. So we kind of skipped one question, but that's okay. We'll go ahead and go to the next one. At 11 minutes here, the question is, with your current position around here by the tower, what do you think the right call is to do here? Should they stay? Should they give up the tower? What should they be looking to do? Ask yourself that, pause the game, and think about what they should be doing here. Okay, why don't you go ahead and answer that, Keon?
Okay, so what we should do is back off and let them have the tower. Basically because we're outnumbered. They're 4 with 3. They have more health than we do in general. I tried to tell my bot lane to back off, but it chose to stay instead, so I have to try to stay with them to avoid them from dying. At one point we could actually have killed one of them to save the tower, but there's 2 things that happened. I smite and ult the Thresh here, and I tried to auto tank while I ulted him away, but I just stunned my Graves at the same time. And if you watch closely, Wayne is tumbling, and she attacks the minion.
Oh, she did attack the minion, and she didn't hit the Thresh.
Get Thresh, we could have killed him for the heal, and probably save the tower as well. But instead she ended up dying, and Thresh dies to the Graves ulti, and I have to leave the tower alone anyway. So well, the right call is obviously to back off, but we stayed, and we went from being far ahead to making the game more even.
Yeah, I noticed that.
Yeah, so that was the trough on our end, basically.
Yeah, so you lost 2 there for nothing. So from that fight that extended from the bottom lane, from your dive, it ended up it was a 1-for-1, then a 1-for-2, and now it's a 4-for-1. So really kind of unfortunate for you guys, because you lose a tower, 3 extra kills, you kind of like even the gold difference. So something to pay attention to when you're playing this game is making sure your decisions aren't going to throw you in a situation where you're putting the team in a position where they can come back, which is unfortunate there. Okay, so the next question is going to be here at 12:05, so we'll go ahead and play it a little faster. But the question is, where should he go after this play, after the bot lane tower died and the bot lane died as well? Where should he go? What should he be doing? Okay, why don't you go ahead and answer that question?
Okay, so at this point I run to the wolves, because that's my instinct. I run to the wolves to kill them. So as I approach the wolves, we can see Twitch moving up to like the river. So I think it's likely they are trying to push or put pressure at mid lane, because they just took the bot lane tower. Our bot lane is still in bot lane, which means they can create the 3v1 or 4v1 scenario in mid lane. So I think I want to be in their mid lane in case something happens. I say I'm pretty strong at the moment. I'm far ahead still, even after that bot lane
shenanigans. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
So, after I take the wolves, I move towards mid lane, and I wait for them to engage on Orianna, and they actually do. So I am able to get quite fast into that fight and create a 2v2 before Twitch or Thresh arrives. No, before Twitch arrives, sorry, Thresh already arrives.
Right.
Yeah, and we were able to kill Asir very quickly. It's a nice ulti by Orianna in this fight, as you can see, quite soon. Yeah, I'm able to get in the mix at the very start of the fight, which makes us end up winning the fight, actually.
Okay. Let's just go ahead and let this fight play out. Yeah, then that was a really good ult from her. She ended up getting both of them. This is just a really good play for you guys. You end up getting quite a bit there. So 3 for 1, really good trade, ultimately.
Yeah, it's a great run from our Thresh, actually. He follows their bot lane out of instincts, which is quite nice for us, because if he wasn't there, we would both have died, probably. It would have been a 2 for 1 trade for them.
And Gangplank followed up with an ult too, to really just secure it and make sure, you know, nothing
Yeah, that
else.
was very nice map play by everyone on our team, actually.
Okay, so the next question's coming up at about 13 minutes and 20 seconds, and he's going to ask where he should be going and why. So start thinking about that, prep your brain, and get ready to answer that question. So go ahead and speed this up a little bit. And Rengar actually hits you right there.
Yeah, I knew he was coming down, but I did not expect him to go for the sneaky kill there, so I kind of just panicked.
Kicked him away. I mean, ultimately
Yeah.
it saved you. I mean, and your cooldown on ult isn't terribly long. I think it's, what, a minute? So that's not too bad. Yeah, it's 73 seconds, so minute 10, minute 13. Okay, so coming up, 13:20. Where should he be going? Go ahead and explain what you're doing.
Okay, so if you watch our bot lane, we can see them fighting.
Okay.
So, well, I chose to go bot lane here, because I know they are going to chase our bot lane until they kill them, or our bot lane gets 100% to safety. So I want to get down there and help them out to stay alive. I want them to get away and get them to safety. I just want them to be safe. That's my initial goal. I don't want them to kill at all. I just want to help them. And I rushed down bot lane to assist my bot lane, and in the end, we end up getting kills for it as well. So
Oh yeah.
we're quite lucky they overextended. I just wanted to help out. I didn't want them to die, because I didn't want their bot lane to get close to us in terms of gold and experience. So yeah, I just wanted to be in the fight and help out. Basically, that's what I wanted to do.
As soon as I saw that play happen, or as soon as you went back to go to the base, I imagined you'd go bot simply because they were a little overextended, and I saw them following, and I knew Dragon was up, so I saw Dragon on the map, and I imagined you're going to try to make a play for it, since you guys seem to, even though the kills and gold, I mean, there's a 4,000 gold lead, so it's pretty substantial at this moment. It's almost 25% more gold than the enemy team, 20% really. So considering that, I was thinking, okay, you guys probably could make a play on Dragon and be strong enough to, if a fight breaks out, probably win it anyway. Being, you know, Lee Sin, you're pretty good early game skirmisher, or mid game too. So we'll see what happens. And it looks like, I think you here in about a minute you talk about deciding why do you go for Dragon here shortly. So we'll see what happens. And it looks like your bot lane back, so you're obviously not going to take it then. Alright, so viewers out there, again, in about 1 minute from now, and you can start asking yourself this question now, when and why is he going to decide to take Dragon? That was a really good play on Twitch, by the way. That was really nice. Okay, let's see, let's speed it up actually.
Yeah, I guess I can start explaining now.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, okay, so this one is actually pretty simple on my end, because we didn't have deep vision, so even though we didn't have deep vision, I was certain it was safe to take the Dragon. This is because I was able to run through the river and kill Thresh without him knowing. He didn't even see me coming at all. So this information tells me there's no wards in the river, which means the Dragon should be safe. So I start the dragon because I know there's no wards, and my teammates decide to fight mid lane. This means they put pressure mid, keeping others busy while I can take the dragon quite freely, actually. So I keep watching the mid lane as I start the dragon to look out for any sort of reaction from the enemy team, and they just keep fighting mid lane. So that means they do not know I'm here. I can just take it while my teammates kill the mid lane, basically.
Right,
So,
exactly.
There's no threats to me while I take the dragon, so I just take it.
See, and this is something I wouldn't have predicted, and it's using the information you have via a kill to know whether or not ward's there. You kill Twitch because he overextends without vision, and you just happen to be there. Now you get the kill, which I think, you know, if I had seen on a jungler, I would have seen him overextended and killed him myself. But I wouldn't have figured, okay, maybe there's no wards there, that's why he's there. I would have immediately just thought, okay, he's greedy and he moved up and he died. But you made the assumption that there's no wards there, and it's probably true because he's not going to move into a Lee Sin. A Twitch certainly not, especially with your ability to like catch him with vision because of Lee Sin's Q and W, or Q and E, I believe they show invisible targets. Okay. So the next question here, coming up in about 16:23, is, well, we'll go ahead and watch it till then. And the question he's going to ask is, why does he decide to go top here instead of mid? We see mid pushing, and why does he decide to go back up this gangplank? Let's go ahead and ask yourself that question. Okay, Keon, why don't you go ahead and answer why you decided to go top here?
Okay, so first, could you just turn on the ward coverage for both teams so I can see the wards for everyone?
Yeah, I can do that. Okay, so in about, now Viewerland, he's about 5 seconds behind me, so in about 5 seconds he'll see all these wards.
Yeah, okay, so you can see there's wards both there in the lane brush, there's a ward, and the tri brush, there's a ward. I do not know this. I have no clue there's a ward's there.
Right.
So the reason I go top lane, I see people back off from mid lane, and I see gangplank pushing, which means I think there's going to be a fight in the top lane quite soon.
Okay.
I think they're going to try to go through their jungle and get gangplank as he's pushing. So at first, I think I snuck in unwarded. You can see me go into the tri-bush quite soon. But as I stand in the tri-bush, I realize it is warded. This is because Rengar backs off from the lane, which means he knows I'm there. He knows I'm a threat, and he will try to back off.
Right.
So I realize it's warded, and I decide I have to move. I have to find somewhere there's no vision over me. And I move from the tri-bush through the bush near the tower in the lane. Yeah, this is because I want to provide a lot of impact in a potential fight, and I believe that's the ideal spot for me to stand. Yeah, so I decided to relocate and make a lot of so I can make a lot of impact if someone comes into gangplank, or if Rengar comes through lane with ulti, which he eventually does, actually.
Okay. Yeah, so my question is I mean, you didn't know this was worded, so you must have assumed it wasn't, but given the enemy, when they see you move out there, and they see you move downward, I imagine, because they'll have enough vision to move into this bush that you're currently sitting in. For me, if I was on the blue side team and I see this, then I would assume that you're still there if you're just waiting. So I don't know if they weren't paying attention, or maybe they thought, because I know what's going to happen here shortly. And it's interesting that they make this decision to come over here. And your Thresh comes over to back you up anyway, but I'm surprised that they spend so much time not going through that jungle and fighting you. I know the mid-fight, Azir died, but given how pushed everyone is, it seems like they kind of follow up rather slowly, and I would have figured they would have done that a little quicker.
Yeah, our Thresh is basically, he's out-rotating everyone on the team, so am I, so it's basically we outnumber them everywhere on the map at all times. That's what happens, and as you can see, I kind of made the right call here as well. I knew there was going to be a fight up here, and I move up, and I try to isolate one guy from the rest of the team, which was Rengar this fight. So we killed Rengar, and we get out quite safely, and oh, he lives? Oh yeah, he lives.
Yeah, he does live, it looks like.
Yeah, he lives, but we are able to get out safely. early, and they decide to, yeah, we're going to chase them, and that's a quite stupid idea versus a full HP Lee Sin and an Orianna coming from the side, so we end up killing 2 of them instead. We didn't kill Rengar, but we killed the other 2.
I'd also like to touch on when you made this play. You come in kind of near the center and everyone's there. It's like a 3v3, but you immediately you kind of go over the wall and you come back. You don't allow yourself to be beat on by Twitch or whatever. I mean, you stay fairly healthy in this fight and just make the plays you know you can. So it seems like you were very patient rather than trying to force the fight, and you waited for a good opportunity to come in, leave the fight, and then re-engage. Which I know, personally, I would have not done that. I would have probably just all-in and tried to go absolutely like full ham sandwich and kill everybody, but it probably wouldn't have worked. Okay, so the next question here is about 8-10, and the question you guys should be thinking about is Gangplank is going to die here shortly, and you want to figure out what should happen after Gangplank dies. What's the ideal move? And so we're going to go ahead and set that up. I'm going to fast forward it, and in about 8 minutes, 10 seconds, go ahead and answer that. Okay, and Gangplank runs to death here.
Yeah.
All right, so go ahead and talk about what you have in mind as far as what you should be doing now that Gangplank's dead.
Okay, so yeah, he dies, and I know that's when he dies, it's kind of a 5-4 opportunity for them in mid lane. They can create a huge, they can create pressure in mid lane, 5 versus 4, and we have Wayne in bot lane, which is 5 versus 3. So I think they're going to shove mid to get the mid tower in order to free up larger portions of the map, so they can move a bit more freely, because they can't really go anywhere with our turret up, because they have to get the tower first before they can move around our jungle. So I move to the Raptors and decide I'm going to stay out of sight in case they want to dive. And if they do dive, I have the opportunity to come in from the sides and keep them under tower while my team kills them. So you can just see me sitting basically AFK on the other side of the wall here. I'm just waiting for something to happen, even though it doesn't. So I just want to be that extra security for the team, basically.
Yeah, I noticed they have, you know, a lot of people here. There's 5 people there, but they don't decide to siege this tower, which is interesting. I figured they would have, but then again, Azir dies pretty quickly, and then they certainly can't after that. But
yeah, I think their team is basically very intent at this point.
Yeah,
they're scared of fighting, even though they win a fight, they kill our top laner, and they just don't use their advantage at all for some reason.
Right.
I think they're pretty motivated right now, because it's 9 to 20. So, well, it's easy to tell when you're behind, and if you let that happen, you make bad decisions, which makes you lose eventually.
Right.
And yeah, they had a chance to get back in the game. Like, they had the chance to push mid tower and getting back into the game, because they got a kill on Gangplank. So if they just used what they had, they could have gotten back into the game, but they just don't use it. And well, they just throw a very nice opportunity, basically, which is really stupid. You have to take what you get.
Yeah, exactly. No, that makes a lot of sense. And, you know, you have almost double the kills and quite a substantial gold lead at this point, but there were certainly some points in the game where, I mean, they were winning team fights. They won a pretty good team fight in the bot lane, so it wasn't like they were out of the game completely, and the kills were fairly even for a good part of the mid game. Well, the earlier part of the mid game. So at this question, this next question that you guys should think about, and go ahead and pause it as soon as I ask this question. What should he be doing? What should his team be doing now? What do you guys think out there in the audience? And then Keon's gonna go ahead and answer that here in a moment. Okay, Keon, why don't you go ahead and answer that question?
Okay, so yeah, we won the fight in mid lane. So I told my team we have to prepare for the Baron, but once again, nobody really listens to my Baron calls, because I don't think people like to do the early Baron calls. The early Baron, I mean, when it spawns. So I want to go back, so I just get the last gold I need to go back. So I have about 3.5k gold or something at this point. So yeah, I want to go back, get my items, and go for the Baron, to ward up the Baron and tease it quite early, because they have nothing to respond with right now. But as it turns out, they surrender as I'm taking the blue buff, I guess. I think they're surrendering quite soon. Yeah, they surrender.
They surrender like right now.
For some reason. Yeah. I don't really understand that though, because they were too well. They're far behind in terms of gold, but they have a very strong team fight composition and can actually turn this around, because we don't have an inhibitor yet. So I think it's a bad call by them to surrender at all. I think they should try to put us out. Yeah. So.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. This wasn't a completely unwinnable game yet. I mean, certainly they were behind, but if they could have gotten some choice team fights or maybe got some picks on players, they could certainly turn the fight around. I mean, I think they're strong enough to still win a 4v5 without any issue, but I'm surprised they quit as well. So, given that game, I mean, you had a pretty solid game. That game certainly going 7-1-7. It's a pretty good score. What are the three things, if you were to give this game, if you were to go over it and give advice to someone playing this game, or if they were watching, or Lee Sin in general, what advice would you give to Lee Sin players? What, like, as far as like common mistakes they should avoid, just the three most common things you can think of when you see a Lee Sin player?
Well, first of all, a Lee Sin jungle is almost every game going to invade you at one of your buffs, that's for sure. So you have to, if you're playing against Lee Sin, you have to watch out for that. And if you are a Lee Sin, you have to keep in mind your enemies are most likely going to expect you to invade. At least in higher elis, like Platinum Plus at least, I would say. Yeah, Lee's a very hard champion to play mechanically, so it takes some practice to pull off properly. You need, like, I'd say at least 100 games to really understand Lee Sin and get comfortable in him. I would recommend watching streamers or YouTubers when they play Lee Sin, because they allow you to copy their playstyle and build. Like, you can watch them play and how they play the champion in order to learn him. You can copy their playstyle and use it in games, and it would most likely work. I would probably recommend Gripex for that. Actually, he's a good streamer in terms of Lee Sin skills, so he should be taken into consideration.
Okay.
Yeah, to get back on track, I'd say it's very important that you keep up a fast-paced early game. That's probably the most important part of Lee Sin. If you do not keep up a fast-paced early game with a high amounts of ganks and high amounts of pressure in order to secure the early game win, you are most likely not going to have a very comfortable game. Because if you do not snowball lanes early and use your abilities to snowball lanes and yourself as Lee Sin early game, you are eventually going to be outscaled. That's for sure. Because Lee Sin does not deal a meaningful amount of damage late game. So if you build Lee Sin as damage, you have to make sure you snowball yourself and your lanes early. Because if you do not do that, you're basically screwed late game, and you're forced to build semi-tanky. Yeah, that's about it, I say.
Okay, well, guys, we appreciate any viewership we get and you guys watching the video. That's really good. We hope you've learned something from this. Being your mods here at Summoner School, we really want to take an active role in trying to help the community, and hope we help any aspiring Lee Sin players out there. If you like the video, don't worry about subscribing. I'm sorry. Yeah, I was just saying. Yeah, don't worry about subscribing or anything like that, or donations or money, anything like that. We don't want your money. We don't want anything like that. We just want you to enjoy the video, and we'll try to bring you more and also other lanes. So again, guys, thank you so much. Keon, if you want to say anything before we go. I think he may have stepped away for a moment. Anyway, all right, guys, thanks again, and have a good one.